Good evening, and welcome to the McMaster Alumni Association Awards celebration. We are happy to be finally gathering in the person again for this event. Thank you. McMaster alumni, family, and friends, please welcome the 2023 Alumni Award recipients.
I would ask everyone to be seated at this point, but we've already done that, so that's great. On behalf of our president, David Farrar, and myself, good evening and welcome to the McMaster Alumni Association's Awards celebration. We are so happy finally to be gathering here in person for this event. Sego, Sewal Grego, Troy Hill ni Youngets, Ganyage Hagi ni Wagawatsioro, Oswego, Gary Hunyagi. My name is Troy Hill. I'm from Six Nations of the Grand River, where I am a grade 8 teacher. And what my expectations for tonight, although for a few may be different, you do not have to put your hand up to go to the washroom, because I had that all day today. I'm actually a member of the class of 2007, and I'm also the past president of McMaster Alumni Association. And it is my privilege to be your MC for the night. We have a unique opportunity tonight and McMaster has done a fabulous job at land acknowledgement before any of our events. And at this point, I'm going to deliver the Ohonda Gawidekwa, which is where the land acknowledgements gets their basis from our people. I am Ganyage Hage, which means I am Mohawk from Six Nations. And working together with McMaster and many other businesses, the land acknowledgement does come from the indigenous people at different nations in different areas where they're from. So I will begin with that, and I will attempt to do a lot of explanation. Our Ganyage Hage opening takes about 2 hours, but I know you're really hungry, so I'm going to give you the grade 8 version. Daitino warado ne angwe soha etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne itnis doha jowanjare etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne yuntunduni etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne wahyunyunta etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne kaharunya etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne gandirio etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne ka ne godunyo etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado johekwa etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne jo waraworie etono yedunge ne ngwani gora datsite wade nu warado ne anjigene garakwa etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne asantineka garakwa etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne jonkiara etono yedunge ne ngwani gora datsite wade nu warado ne skanadario etono yedunge ne ngwani gora daitino warado ne jonkiara etono yedunge ne ngwani gora datsite wade nu warado ne sangwa disa etono yedunge ne ngwani gora. What I've just delivered to you is a responsibility that we all have as beings. And I start off with that responsibility of acknowledging everyone in this room and our commitment to well-being to one another. And within that commitment comes a responsibility to maintain that. We go right from there to the Yititni Stohacho Hanjare. That's our Mother the Earth. Our Mother the Earth is not a metaphor. Our Mother the Earth is someone who provides us as our living being that we must take care of and look after. And this Ohonagawidekwa, what I delivered, is all about responsibility. And it's like our alumni that we're going to celebrate tonight. Each alumni has taken on the responsibility to be here tonight, to take on the responsibility of what they think is important and reflective of our university. And they're proud of that. When we deliver the Ohonagawi Dekwa, we go through all of the medicines. We go from all the sustenance, the animals. We go through an important part right now is the winds. As we feel these winds that are changing right now and bringing that hot weather, they know what their purpose is. And what I did was I acknowledged the purpose and the responsibility for us to take care of our environment, so our four winds keep up their responsibility. So that responsibility is ingrained throughout my Ganyagehauge culture, and it's privileged to be here to do it, because in often many events we're asked to do the land acknowledgement, and for an Indigenous person, the land acknowledgement is for our new neighbors. It's for you to understand a little bit about who we are and how we see things. So in our tradition, what I will do is at the end, I will do a closing. So it brings all of our minds together at the beginning. We start every day with this, like our children, our grade 8 students in my class. It's their responsibility, because they're the older students, to go on into the office and say it during announcements, and then it's a responsibility to say it at the end of the day. And it's to close that circle of healing. So moving on from that, ironically, it's kind of funny when I'm reading I'm going to apologize right now to our amazing alumni who are receiving these awards. You're probably going to get Six Nation Res twang when I say your names, but you can always say someone, you got a Ganyagehauge representation of what your name is, because when we do I haven't get to meet you. Hopefully I can have some chats over dinner, but when they do phonetics, I do phonetics in Mohawk, so it doesn't so my wife, who's Ukrainian, says, "I don't think that's it," and I said, "Neither do I." So I'm going to do my best, and I think of my grade 8 students that when I first meet them with their Indian names, and when I pronounce those in a different way, just lets you know that it's done with a good mind, and you can just slap me on the head at dinner and tell me how to say it correctly, and it's done with definitely with a good mind. So tonight, we are here to honor 7 new Alumni Gallery inductees, 5 new recipients of the recent Alumni Arch Award, 4 recipients of the Albert Lager Prize for Student Initiative, and 3 Community Impact Award winners. Tonight, the honorees represent grads across a span of nearly half a century. We will look back on tremendous legacies and look forward to great achievements still to come. As we progress through this program, please keep in mind that this event is not the only opportunity to learn about these amazing MAC alumni and students. Our honorees, both present and past, are profiled online at alumni.mcmaster.ca. That's where you're supposed to have your pen out. That's my grade 8 coming out in me. And close up to 300, in fact, have contributed to in-depth interviews that are featured alongside their profiles. And with those profiles, I'll switch back. I'm your past president of alumni, and I was the president during the COVID, and what was fascinating is that everything was filmed and everything was going down screens in every event that I did, whether it was convocation or anything. But I still felt it, and I still felt pride while I was doing those pre-recorded things. And now that I'm here in person, this energy is exactly the same as I did there. I know how hard you all worked for at McMaster over the years, and I know how hard you've worked for why you're here tonight. But I just wanted to mention that I've never seen that dude before, it's because I was online for 2 years, and I didn't really, I always looked at my wife and about all of the traveling and think, got to do this, because I'm so committed to my reserve, my community, I don't often come off. It kind of worked out really well. And I think the future with this university is going to be absolutely amazing past this and where we are today. So, I encourage you to explore these profiles, absolutely, conversations and your convenience, so you can learn more about our university and its people, while it's drawing inspiration from impact and accomplishments of hundreds of MAC alumni, students, and friends. You will not be disappointed. And you could tell when you look at these things how many times it's been re-recorded. For me, it was a bunch. Finally, before we begin our presentation, I want to thank two key contributors to our annual awards program. First, the alumni volunteers who conceived of and drive the McMaster Alumni Association Awards to terrific work and have had a huge impact on the MAC family for 4 decades now. Our second acknowledgement is for our long-standing partner and sponsor at this annual event, TD Insurance Monix. We appreciate their support as well as the service they provide thousands of McMaster alumni clients. A special thank you to Corrado Massini and Max Stiles and partner at TD who have joined us here tonight. A warm welcome also to our current McMaster Alumni Association President, coming next, Kareem Elman. It's awesome to, Kareem will talk a little bit more later, but I'm so glad he's here and he's going to tell him where he just came from, and it's awesome. He's following my really shallow footsteps, and I'm glad he is here. So he's traveled from, I'm going to let him talk about that. We will invite Kareem up at the podium to say hello a little later this evening and present some awards. We begin with the Albert Lager Prize for Students Initiative. Albert Lager was a 3-time McMaster graduate who actually completed all of his degrees after he retired from his working life. He became a dedicated alumni association volunteer who, in his will, created a foundation that supports the Albert Lager Prize for Student Initiative.
I've seen people at McMaster focus in on really big challenges and then direct all of their energy towards addressing them. And I think that's made me someone who also wants to look for the most challenging issues in my surroundings, whether they relate to something at work or something in my environment, and work towards solutions for that. And I've realized that going above and beyond in that way is how we create value for others and for our society. And then the second point is you can't work on those big challenges alone. You need to work with other people on them so that you have the diversity of thought that you need to understand the issue as well as potential solutions to it. And then I think it's also great to support and empower the people that you work with, both within and outside of work, so that you can build a sense of community.
So the best lesson that I learned while at McMaster was the importance of community. This was learned both inside and outside the classroom, be it through engaging with my peers in my specialization or simply with other students at McMaster across all 4 years. I felt that I was able to cultivate and belong to a strong community on campus.
I find that adaptability is also a critical component of innovation and creativity, and this allows one to generate and implement new ideas in response to changing circumstances. It can help one become more resilient and better equipped to handle setbacks and failures, as well as learn from them and apply lessons to any future career.
No matter how difficult a situation is or a task, as long as you keep pushing yourself and keep working towards something, you can definitely accomplish it. And I learned this throughout my time in classrooms and through my extracurriculars as well. And it's a lot of just believing in yourself and just kind of pushing through things and having hope that you will be able to accomplish what you set your mind to. And kind of having that mindset definitely helps get through a lot of tasks. And I think that McMaster definitely prepares you for this, and this will help a lot within like your career choices, because if you get a specific task in your work field that you're not very confident in, this will be very helpful. So I think that that's something McMaster has definitely helped prepare me in.
Jareen Anthony Pillay is preparing to begin the final year of her 5-year engineering and management program in computer engineering. That academic focus on computing has shaped a significant part of her volunteer legacy in her faculty and more broadly at McMaster. She has been an executive member of Delta Hacks and was co-chair of the inaugural Mac Hacks, a hackathon run by the McMaster Artificial Intelligence Society. She was also the vice president of the Google Developer Student Club's McMaster U. Jareen has also had an impact in outreach related to science and engineering. She was a part of the team that delivers the Sci Section radio show on CFMU 93.3 FM, and she serves as an ambassador for Women in Engineering and as a Faculty of Engineering ambassador who creates content across a variety of social media platforms.
I'm going to ask you to come forward as I call your name and, your new Mohawk name, Jareen Anthony Play. Amandeep Sane.
While pursuing her Bachelor of Health Sciences degree and now her Master of Science in Global Health, Amandeep Saini has been a community leader on campus and off. A volunteer with the Student Wellness Center and Graduate Wellness Team, she was also a member of Undergraduate Council, a member of the Selection Committee for the President's Award for Community Engaged Research, and a mentor to undergraduate researchers. She served as co-chair of McMaster Model United Nations and president of UNICEF McMaster. Amandeep's volunteering has connected MAC to its communities through roles such as co-director of the Trauma Informed Care Conference and co-chair of the International Women's and Children's Health Conference. She was an intern with the Hamilton Light Rail Transit Community Benefits Project, co-investigator with the City Lab Semester in Residence Evaluation Project, and founder of the Hamilton Youth Civic Engagement Project.
I will try that again. Amandeep Sani. Would you like to come forward? Not here. Excellent. Amandeep cannot be here this evening. There, look, that's right in my notes. She is working in India at the George Institute for Global Health through the McMaster Health Forum's Queen Elizabeth Scholar Program. I am never going to give someone a C in public speaking again. Abdullah Zaidi.
Graduate from the Department of Kinesiology and soon-to-be graduate in the Master of Science in Global Health program, Abdullah Zaidi has focused a significant amount of his volunteer energy on global health issues. He is a key member of the McMaster Global Health Student Liaison Group and a volunteer with the McMaster Global Health Communications Group, the McMaster Global Health Podcast, and the McMaster Global Health Conference, where he was the fundraising lead. Abdullah served as volunteer coordinator with the Letters to Seniors Community Volunteer Circle, which supported seniors experiencing isolation during the pandemic. And he was the co-vice president of finance for Champions of Change Hamilton. He was also a founder and co-chief editor of the Impulse Undergraduate Journal of Kinesiology, a peer-reviewed scholarly journal to which he contributed original work.
Ava Zarandi.
Ava Zarandi has made a significant commitment to research and the research community as she pursues her Bachelor of Health Sciences honors degree. A busy researcher who has contributed to 2 peer-reviewed publications, Ava is a member of the board for the Women in Research Collective. Beyond research, Ava has been a peer support volunteer with the McMaster Students Union in a number of roles. She's volunteered with the Student Health Education Center, been a Welcome Week representative, and an upper year mentor for the Bachelor of Health Sciences Student Society. She has also been active in the Residence Life System as an orientation representative and a Residence Community Advisor in Brandon Hall, and for which she was recognized with the Mary E. Kai Citizenship Award for Residence Community Advisors in 2022.
Congratulations to our Lager Prize recipients. We can all look forward to watching their progress and following their careers as young MAC alumni. That brings us to the next group of honorees, the winners of the Arch Award. The Alumni Association created this award 20 years ago to recognize the work and impact of our more recent graduates and to shine a spotlight of some tremendous young people.
Experiential learning for myself with the DeGroote Experience Fund was massive. So I was able to travel to Brazil, India, New York with the help of the DEF. And I think when you combine traditional education, so being in classroom learning, with experiential learning, which is where you're entering into a case competition or you're in some sort of a Model UN simulation, it really helps you put into practice theory that you learn in class, but actually use it in a real life situation.
It was for a philosophy course and it was titled Critical Thinking. I had the privilege of assisting students in the basic structures of argumentation and logical fallacies. And I guess I was just surprised by how naturally the students took to the really abstract and theoretical discussions and just immediately applied it to everyday life, like in news, politics, and their lived experiences. And I think this taught me that education structures and really changes how we perceive and engage with the world. And I think there's something really, really special about that.
Had the vision that I wanted to be a part of advancing space in Canada, but also advancing that pathway for other students who had the similar interest as mine, no matter what discipline they were in. And of course, none of this would have been possible without the support I received from the McMaster community, from like the professors, the McMaster Student Union, to the Hamilton community, who also supported one of our first events that took place at McMaster as part of an undergrad recreational astronomy club that my friend and I had started. No, it was really great. And every time that I jumped outside of my comfort zone at McMaster, I ended up gravitating to something new, something exciting, and really just a leap closer to the goal that I had for joining the space sector.
I learned so much about myself being coached by Paulo, the track and field cross country coach, and being part of a team and what that meant. Also what it meant to like represent an organization. How do you hold yourself to a standard if you're out there officially representing an organization? How do you put in hard work? What does hard work mean? And also, how do you balance all your different initiatives that you're doing in the day-to-day life? So a long-winded answer is both the faculty, the extracurricular, and the sports and athletics really shaped me to who I am today, and makes me grateful that I chose McMaster.
Chase excellence and success will follow. So we should apply excellence to everything that we do, that is within our work, within our community service and our volunteer service, and giving back to the community. And in turn, I truly believe that we are trustees of the resources that we have, and that success follows once we begin to chase this idea of high quality work and excellence in everything that we do. And that is one key lesson that I would like to share with everyone today as well.
Blarina Ago.
Blarina Ago earned her Bachelor of Commerce degree at McMaster in 2018 and began her career with Restaurant Brands International, the parent company of Tim Hortons. Working to develop the iconic Canadian brand, Blarina joined their leadership development program and worked on the Canadian innovation team as an analyst. As she grew with the organization, she was promoted to National Marketing Calendar and National Retail Calendar planning roles. She most recently moved to the U.S. Northeast, where she is now part of the team leading the expansion of Tim Hortons CPG products in grocery stores across the United States and Mexico. At the same time Blarina was starting her professional career, she was building an organization to support marginalized children. She founded Backpacks for Brainiacs with the mission of empowering children and youth from low-income and marginalized communities in their educational endeavors by providing them with some of the necessities for success in school. Since founding Backpacks for Brainiacs in the summer after she graduated from McMaster, Blarina has led the organization in raising tens of thousands of dollars through grassroots campaigns and providing back-to-school necessities to more than 550 children across Hamilton, Brantford, and Toronto. That community impact helped earn Blarina a nomination for the YWCA Women of Distinction Young Trailblazers Award.
Daniel Yoon Sik Choi.
After earning his BA from the University of Toronto and his Master of Arts degree in philosophy from McMaster, Daniel Yoon Sik Choi worked in database operations with the Ontario Medical Association. He soon resumed his academic pursuits, however, completing his law degree at Osgoode Hall. With expertise in the intersection of law, business, and technology, he is now pursuing his Chartered Financial Analyst designation. As a law student, Daniel served on the Osgoode Hall Law Journal, the Intellectual Property Journal, and the Transnational Legal Theory Journal. He was part of the executive committees of both the Asian Law Student Association and the national chapter of the First Generation Network. He chaired the student division of the Ontario Bar Association and was also, therefore, a member of the Ontario Board Association Board of Directors. In the community, Daniel is a member of the board of the Woodsworth College Alumni Association and co-chair of the Boxing Ontario Governance Committee. He is also a director with OCC Work, an organization he co-founded to manage commercial subleasing for co-working spaces.
Danielle is unable to be here this evening due to previous work commitment. And we're going to move on to Linda Dow.
Linda Dow earned her BSc in biochemistry at McMaster before pursuing a master's degree in space studies from the International Space University, ISU, in Israel and France. She has been a visiting lecturer on human performance in space at the ISU in France and an intern at the NASA Ames Research Center in California. With the exception of the 10 months Linda spent as a senior consultant in the global space sector with Euroconsult beginning in 2021, Linda has been a part of the Canadian Space Agency since 2018. She is currently a senior commerce advisor in policy industry relations, where she helps to position Canada's space industry for growth and success. Linda previously served as a program officer with the Space Science and Technology Director General's Office and as a project officer in operational space medicine. She was also a participant in the 2020 Dr. Roberta Bondar Career Development Program for Women in Science, a program named for a fellow MAC alumna. While studying at MAC, Linda designed a scientific experiment that was performed in space in 2013. Later, at ISU, she co-founded the Human Spaceflight Journal Club as a graduate student. Linda is currently on the board of advisors with Students for the Exploration and Development of Space Canada, a not-for-profit creating opportunities for professional development in space-related fields.
Gabrielle Giglione.
Gabriel Giglione, who ran cross-country as a marauder before graduating in 2017, carried his love of running into his professional career with a series of startup companies. He was a project manager based in Berlin for Spirit app, and then moved to London as head of growth and marketing with My Crew app. In 2019, he joined Midnight Runners, a global running community that aims to encourage healthy living and alleviate urban loneliness by offering free fitness and real-life social connections. He is focused on launching the program in new markets and building communities in places like Toronto, San Francisco, Bogota, Amsterdam, and Tokyo. He has worked in a number of roles with the company, including Director of Culture, Community, and Event Innovation, and he is now the director of the not-for-profit, focusing on managing relationships with brands like Reebok, Michelob Ultra, and Mizuno. Gabriel and two running friends, Jody Brager and Jody Gold, decided to run 400 kilometers in 7 days through the Bartang Valley, also called the Roof of the World, from the border of Afghanistan to the border of China. Their experience traversing one of the most remote places on Earth was a basis for a documentary film called Running the Roof, which was an official selection of the 2020 Banff Mountain Film and Book Festival and was given the Audience Choice Award.
Vidi Takar.
Vidi Takar completed her Bachelor of Health Sciences degree at McMaster in 2008 before attending medical school at the University of Ottawa, completing her MSc in experimental surgery at McGill University, and earning her PhD in health services and policy research at the University of Toronto, where she received the Gordon Cressy Leadership Award. She recently won the CIHR Health Systems Impact Postdoctoral Fellowship and is a fellow with the Victoria Hospice and University of Victoria. Vidi served as a consultant on a World Health Organization and Center for Addictions and Mental Health, where she led a systematic review and has worked on a number of health system-related projects for universities, provincial ministries of health, hospitals, and Cancer Care Ontario. Her research interests include evidence-informed policymaking, data analytics, health informatics, health data, patient engagement, and healthcare accountability. She also lectures in health and aging at Kwantlen Polytechnic University and project management at Pacific Course University. She teaches courses in data analytics, statistics, and communicating with healthcare data at the McMaster Center for Continuing Education Studies. Vidi is currently on the board of the Canadian College of Health Leaders and was previously a board member of the Justice Emmett Hall Foundation and Canadian Association of Health Services and Policy Research.
My main advice would be to diversify your experiences by stepping outside of your comfort zone. And what I mean by that is you never really know what you will discover without trying something new. And I found my passion doing this. I didn't know anything about space, but I started a club about space. And it really goes to show that once you put your mind to it, a lot can gravitate towards you. And as long as you realize your passions then and embrace the failures that are part of it, or even the experiments that are part of it, it would make the whole journey seem less intimidating and much more fun to progress.
A very special moment for me was when I had finally kind of come into my own with, the track and field and cross country, and I had been training a lot, and finally come to achieve a goal that I was really proud of. And I came back onto campus, and some of my friends gave me a pat on the back, and they showed me an article in a silhouette. I made it into the silhouette, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. This organization is recognizing the hard work I'm putting into this, and that felt like really special and boosted my confidence a lot. As a person, as an athlete, as an overall human, I was like, look, it did a lot for my confidence.
Graduation day, it was truly delightful to see all of my colleagues graduate and become successful scholars, to be able to go on this learning journey with them over 4 years and to see them evolve and develop into scholars and then pursue their careers in professional schools or postgraduate training programs. I believe graduation day was truly the highlight of my training at McMaster University. I'm the first person in my family to have the opportunity to go to university full time. So I take it as a privilege, and I know that I'm truly privileged to be able to give back to society in this way and to be able to create more opportunities for people that follow forward in the next generation.
One, it's super humbling. I'm very grateful, and I think these types of recognitions make me feel empowered, because to me they more so just signal that the work I'm doing is impactful, and I think it's making a difference in people's lives. But more than anything, I think it just makes me feel proud, mostly for my parents. I think who I am and everything I live and work for is for them and their legacy. So they had such a difficult life, and growing up, they grew up in a communist dictatorship in Albania, to having a dream of moving to a Western country and sending their kids to university. And really, this stuff just makes me proud, because I get to go to my parents and be like, I hope, everything was worth it. And it just makes me feel really grateful for the life I have and how things always fall into place.
As an alumni, my schools, other first generation students, and other people that are following this journey that can use the support, really. And it doesn't necessarily have to be these global issues. Just contributing to the community is very valuable to me now. It's a time to grow. It's a time to cultivate who you are, and it's an experience that really changes fundamentally who you are, and it's very important to make the most of that.
Wow. As an MC, you're not supposed to get emotional. You're supposed to be an MC. But what you've all done, and how I see how you could help my community, it's huge. And I'm guessing it was Paula Schnur who trained you. Am I guessing who was trained by Paula? But just a guess. So we have the winners were just absolutely amazing, and the impressive MAC grads, absolutely for sure. So our next award is especially meaningful to me. Oh gosh, this is where it gets. Because a while ago, over a decade ago, I won this first inaugural award. And I came to a room like this, and I didn't have a suit. I had never been in a room with suits before. And I'm going to center somebody out right now, but this photographer who's taking a picture of me is from my same neighborhood, from the East End of Hamilton. And the East Enders, there's something about East Enders that know stuff about East Enders. And I could see that he could see that my comfort level in this thing, in this setting, although magnificent and amazing and powerful, it was hard. But as I see this award accumulate through the years, and to see it come to where it is right now, the importance of this award is the definition of community, because we all have those different definitions of what community are. And we all have different environments of what community is, whether it's here at McMaster, or whether it's in your home country, wherever you're at, whether it's the family you're with. Sometimes a little spark in an audience can light up your whole spirit. And to come back tonight, 11 years later, and it's the same photographer, and the same spirit of what everyone has done to this point at McMaster, and what community means individually to each one, is absolutely amazing. And the commitment to community is about responsibility, and it's the responsibility that you take. It's not the responsibility that someone gives you. You come up with that responsibility and what you've done here. And McMaster is just a 2-hour bus ride away in the 60s and 70s for an East Ender. And now it's always in here with all of us. Your family, your friends who are here with you, I know you have felt that sense of community that everybody has had. So without any further of saying of this amazing award, I'm going to turn it over to this part.
think this piece, as I considered it, was really that medicine's taught me that while you might have a full grasp about what's currently understood about something or a problem or an issue or anything, everything is constantly in evolution and learning is never complete. So for me, my med school journey was centered around PBL, or problem-based learning. And that really let me practice skills and frame how I approached my medical journey in a lifelong learning perspective. The world of pediatric oncology is changing every day. Every patient will challenge you in some new way. As a human, we're all constantly evolving and changing and growing. The world around us is constantly evolving. And so I think you need to approach the world with this openness and with the skills to be able to take advantage of that learning at every opportunity. And I think, my medical learning really helps prepare me to do that in some ways.
Exposure to the different realms of social work and the self-reflection process that was drilled into us has, been wonders, not only in my social work field, but in my personal life as well. Just, particularly the self-reflection piece, I've become a very, I guess you could say, self-aware person, and encourage that even among my clients. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, it's taught me a lot. I think when I was at McMaster, I did biology. I did 5 courses a semester, 2 semesters a year for 4 years. I think it's what a lot of people do, but it was certainly a lot of hard work. And I think one of the things that it taught me well was just how to be organized and diligent, how to make sure you meet deadlines, you do your best work. But yeah, you certainly have a lot of fun and excitement along the way. Even when I was at Mac, I did all those things, but I also, what else did I do? I ran a charity, I was in a student club, I also did a play as well, like a musical theater production for multiple years. I knew I couldn't just do school, and I think that's even how I operate now. I can't just do work, I need to do things that fill the cup in the variety of ways which cups show up in front of me. And I think the experience of McMaster showed me how important that is to me in my life, and that's something I've carried forward with me.
Stacy Margerison.
Stacy Margerison earned her BSc in kinesiology and her MD at McMaster before pediatric residency in Halifax and pediatric hematology oncology fellowship at Sick Kids, while completing an MSc in clinical epidemiology and healthcare research at the University of Toronto. Now a pediatric oncologist and medical director of the Pediatric Oncology Late Effects Program at McMaster Children's Hospital, she is an associate professor of pediatrics at McMaster with an associate appointment to the Department of Health Research Methods, Evidence and Impact. She is the inaugural Ronald Barr Professor in Pediatric Oncology and is the lead of the Social Justice, Indigenization and Inclusion Working Group of the Canadian Pediatric Cancer Consortium. She was awarded the Canadian Pediatric Society Early Career Practitioner Award in 2020. A researcher who investigates issues including supportive care for children with cancer and the interaction between socio-demographic determinants of health and malignancy, Stacy co-founded Hatch, Hamilton Advocating Together for Child Health, a research incubator focused on health equity for children. She was a former chair of the International Society of Pediatric Oncology's Global Health Network Traditional and Complementary Medicine Working Group. She also works with the Pediatric Oncology Group of Ontario to improve care for survivors of childhood cancer and advocates for Indigenous families and those that do not have all the benefits of Canadian citizenship. In 2019, Stacy cycled across Canada with the National Kids Cancer Ride for Childhood Cancer.
David Grant.
David Grant earned his Bachelor of Social Work at McMaster, followed by his MSW from Toronto Metropolitan University. He is currently pursuing doctoral studies in public health at the University of Waterloo. A specialist in children and family welfare, as well as mental health disorders including addictions, particularly among Black people of the African diaspora, David operates a private psychotherapy practice called Global Mind Emancipation Educational and Counseling Services, where he provides individual, couples, and family therapy. He is also an instructor at Humber College and a contract psychotherapist with Becoming Resilient Individuals Counseling Services. David previously served as a social worker in the substance abuse program for African, Canadian, and Caribbean youth with the Child, Youth, and Emerging Adult Department of the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. He has also been a social worker with the Family Enhancement Team for the Government of the Yukon and a family service worker with Toronto Children's Aid Society. David currently plays a number of roles within the legal system as a frequent expert witness and a clinical social worker for the Sentencing and Parole Project, where he conducts research and writes reports detailing the social, psychological, and family histories of Black inmates.
Kyle Emringham. He can't be here this evening. He's just returning from a honeymoon in Greece.
Graduated from McMaster with a BSc before completing a master's degree in resource management at Simon Fraser University. A co-founder of the Starfish Canada, the not-for-profit that runs Canada's top 25 environmentalists under 25, Kyle is currently Director of Finance and Fundraising with the organization, which has been a finalist for the Charity Village Best Youth Organization in Canada Award. He is also the Director of Social Impact Partnerships at Thought Exchange. Kyle has taught courses on climate change and environmental assessment at Cambrian College and Seneca College, while serving as an entrepreneur in residence with the social impact consulting firm Purple. Previously, he worked with the David Suzuki Foundation and the Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society, focusing on community engagement and Indigenous partnerships. Kyle has served on boards for organizations including the Takira Foundation and City High Vancouver. He has been a member of the Mountain Equipment Co-op Granting Committee, the Connecting a New Generation with Nature Working Group for the Canadian Parks Council, the Expert Panel on Climate Change Adaptation and Resilience for Environment and Climate Change Canada, and the Environment and Natural Areas Committee for the District of Saanich. Kyle played a lead role in successful municipal campaigns for a councillor and a mayor in the District of Saanich.
And I'll say that again, sometimes you have to be the change that you want to see. And I learned this both inside and outside of the classroom, to quickly elucidate what I mean by that is, for instance, a big portion, the major portion of my work, my life has been advocating for the needs of Black people of African descent globally, right? Whether it's in Canada, the US, the Caribbean, which that's where, that's my ethnicity, Jamaican. Advocating for the needs of Black people and understanding that I had to be that change because I was one of the very few Black people in almost all my classes, right? And when I saw that, the responsibility naturally, befell me.
People move on from McMaster and are learning about how they would like to show up in the world. I think it's just always important to remember those formative years that you've had and how you can look back on them with such fondness and kindness. And right behind me, actually, this is the frame that was given to me by Manulife and McMaster. Thank you. This is one of my very good friends that we've planned Welcome Week with. And all these photos are actually from McMaster. They're all on the McMaster campus with friends.
And I think the best lesson I learned was not to let anyone convince you that you can't do something. That, had I heeded the thoughts of some of these peers, I might have given up on this path. And I feel like I've been able to, build a really rewarding career, and I think I've been able to have a positive impact on the lives of other people through this work. And it was really the lesson, like, don't let anyone convince you can't do something that you think you'd be good at and you could do.
Wow, I got through that with, the tears are inside, but that's like I said, that holds something dear to me in what you've done to your community and how you outreach that. We are not finished, and there is some more amazing awards to be presented. Our final award is the cornerstone of our Alumni Awards program. The first McMaster Alumni Gallery induction took place in 1982. That's when I was born, or 68, one or the other. Once we officially induct this year's 7 new gallery members, that will bring the total to 458 MAC alumni who have been named to the gallery. By design, our selection criteria for gallery induction are broad. Members include the most famous names on our alumni roster, along with the lesser known but wonderfully inspirational, accomplished, and interesting grads as well. And we're going to have you please come forward as I call your name.
I would say that my experience at McMaster has served me well throughout my career journey in a number of different ways. So throughout my training with the philosophy department, I really was able to cultivate a number of different skill sets, everything from communication to research to self-expression, and all of those skill sets have really served me well throughout my career. And that's true whether it was in the university sector, whether it was in regulatory compliance, whether it was in the private sector, or now the not-for-profit sector. So I really found that those skills have served me well and are deeply transferable. So I really have my humanities education to thank for that.
Looking back, I think the time I spent expanding my mind, developing curiosity about community behavior. Whether it's been in organizations that I've worked in, I've worked in private sector, public sector, publicly traded companies, biotechnology, financial services, and having a desire to learn about all of those organizations, their strategy, what they're doing, how you line up people and culture to that. I think that all started, looking back to university as a way to expand people on possibilities.
What served me well was, problem solving. Engineering was hard. I worked and I did my MBA full time after I graduated, about a couple years after I had graduated. That was easier than doing my engineering degree. So what I learned is, even though things are hard, doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to figure it out. It's really important to find a group of people, a team, other people that are going through that and can help you, and it just makes it feel a whole lot less lonely and more effective when you're doing it with someone else. And plus all the skills that I acquired. So it gave me a lot of confidence to do what I do today.
What has served me very well has been the inspiration I've gained from people who I really admired, people who focused on learning, and they were searching not just for one truth, but truth in quotations. They were committed to their projects, whether it was history or sociology or psychology, and those were the subjects that I think I probably enjoyed the most, ones I chose. They influenced me by their persistence, their commitment, and their desire to to share their knowledge with people. Us, the students, we were the fortunate recipients. And some of them, because of the particular discipline they were in, could take their knowledge and transfer it into action to try to make the world a better place. I really appreciated that.
You know, you go from high school where you're sort of in this small world to a university that's huge. And as I was saying, I was in engineering management, so I had courses all over campus, including business and engineering. So I think the social aspect was very important. I was involved as well, and I think of this as social. I was involved in student government. I was on the Student Representative Assembly one year. I was in the McMaster Engineering Society executive. I was on the Chemical Engineering executive. So I suppose when I talk about that, those roles prepared me for management and leadership within the corporation as I move forward as well. So I hadn't thought of it that way until we were just speaking about this, but I realize now that taking those leadership roles in the university served me very well going forward afterwards.
The innovation in medical education at McMaster, when I was there in the 1970s, is an inspiration to think differently and to go beyond, to serve and to make a better world. This has served me well in my career in medicine, which I use an opportunity to go beyond and do things outside, and also to find novel ways and novel ideas to improve health in society at home and globally. This ranges from identifying and addressing disparities in health to using innovative ideas from chaos and complexity science to rethink medicine and to address global issues and crises, which I think have the potential to make a difference in our 21st century world.
Our first one is Karen Bacher, who is unable to be here this evening because she is on sabbatical.
Karen Bacher is a McMaster Arts and Science alumna and Rhodes Scholar. Now a professor, Canada Research Chair, and Director of the Program on Water Governance at the University of British Columbia. She is currently the Martina S. Horner Distinguished Visiting Professor at the Harvard Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study. Karen leads the Smart Earth Project and authored The Sounds of Life, How Digital Technology is Bringing Us Closer to the Worlds of Animals and Plants, a book about interspecies communication and bioacoustics. She has also written, edited, or co-edited a half dozen other books on water governance and security. Karen is a member of the board of the International Institute for Sustainable Development, the Council of the National Research Council Canada, and the Scientific Advisory Committee of the Council of Canadian Academies. She has also worked with the Decolonializing Water Research Collective, the EU-funded Riverhood Project Team, the Coalition on Digital Environmental Sustainability, and the Internet Governance Forum's Policy Network on Environment. Writing under the pseudonym Karen Labillon, Dr. Bacher is the author of 2 books about healthy eating for children, earning the Taste Canada Food Writing Award. Karen's list of honors include being named a Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation Fellow and a member of the Royal Society of Canada's College of New Scholars, Artists, and Scientists. She was listed as one of Canada's top 40 under 40 in 2011.
I'm going to ask Ross Baylat to come up.
Is a McMaster Social Sciences alumna who joined Meridian, Ontario's largest credit union, as its president and CEO at the start of 2022. She holds the same title with Modus Bank, a Meridian subsidiary. Before returning to Ontario to lead Meridian, Jay-Ann served as CEO of Van City Community Investment Bank, a nationally focused subsidiary of the Van City Credit Union.
This could be the Grammy Awards. We went over in time.
Just getting extra time on stage.
Here you go, Ross. Ross is going to lead us in a song. I vote we have Ross speak. Yes, Ross? Are you comfortable? I just put you on a spot. I do it all day long to 13-year-olds.
Sure, I could do that.
Excellent.
I don't remember what I wrote. You know, I looked at the blurb, but I'll see what. I think I had a career in the fossil fuel industry. I worked for Imperial Oil, graduated out of here with a chemical engineering and management degree. And I spent a lot of time dealing with the economics of fossil fuels and how to make the most money out of the oil sands. I was very conflicted about that, particularly towards the end as climate change became more and more apparent to us what was going on in the 2000s and onward. When I retired from Imperial Oil, I pivoted to a career in environmental activism through art. I had a book published in 2020, a poetry book that was named one of the 12 books that will change your mind about climate change by the website Shondaland. It was listed as one of the top poetry books in Canada by the CBC in 2020. I've been making film based on those poems that have been distributed across the world. I have become a climate change columnist for both the iPolitics and the National Observer, attempting to point out the hypocrisy we have in the systems we have in place. So I think that's why I'm up here. Thanks.
Next is J.N. Guilfoy.
Ross Belak graduated with a Bachelor's of Engineering and Management. As well as strategic planning at Imperial Oil before retiring in 2014. During the last decade of his career, he began taking creative writing courses and developed his passion for poetry.
Can I put you on the spot?
Ross and I look a lot alike, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
I won't give you a detention if you don't do this, however.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. J.N. Guilfoy. I'm CEO of Meridian Credit Union, a job that I took about 15 months ago. Started my career in HR after graduating from McMaster, just as HR was becoming a career, a profession, and then spent 25 years doing that. Then I decided, what the heck, I might as well go do technology, so I led technology for a number of years, and then from that into growing a business, and then into the role that I'm in now. And the thread of all of that would be that I've had a lifelong commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Started very young in my life, and then continued all the way through my career, whether that was leading programs in HR and leadership, or helping to make sure in my current role and the last organization that I worked with that we are really putting finance in service of helping people, community, and the planet be better. And I think that's why I got the award.
our amazing remaining people getting nervous? Lorraine Gray.
Lorraine Gray completed her Bachelor's of Engineering and Management at McMaster, and then an MBA from York University, subsequently earning her Professional Engineer of Ontario designation. Building her career at Hydro One, she is now the Director of Station Services, making her the first woman to lead her division. Lorraine oversees more than 700 field staff who operate more than 300 transformer stations and 1,000 distribution stations across Ontario. She is also a champion of women's advancement at Hydro One, having achieved balanced hiring in her business unit's apprenticeship program, encouraging gender equity protocols and hiring processes, and working to normalize women as leaders in field operations. She is also a mentor to the next generation of women engineers, working through the Women in Engineering University Consortium and as an engineer in residence with Ontario Tech University's Women in Engineering program. Lorraine's previous roles include Manager of Power System Projects with Hydro One, where she oversaw more than $250 million in annual capital projects, and Manager of PNC Technical Services, where she was responsible for the province-wide technical support team. In 2020, Lorraine was named one of Canada's top 100 most powerful women by the Women's Executive Network, and in 2021 was recognized as a Catalyst Honors Champion. Lorraine is currently the Vice Chair of the Whitby Public Library Board of Directors.
Our next recipient, Chandra Kavanaugh, is not here unless you snuck in somewhere. So that's going to move us over. Oh, we're going to do
Chandra Kavanaugh earned her PhD in philosophy from McMaster University in 2020, specializing in biomedical ethics and feminist philosophy. She is currently the Chief Executive Officer of the Canadian Mental Health Association, Newfoundland and Labrador. CMHANL is a provincial leader and champion for mental health education and advocacy with a mission to facilitate access to the resources people require to maintain and improve mental health. Previously, Chandra was the director of Bounce Health Innovation, a medical technology cluster and health innovation incubator working to help Newfoundland and Labrador become a key center for medical technology innovation in North America. Prior to that role, she served as the ethics officer for the Newfoundland and Labrador Health Research Ethics Authority. She also taught biomedical ethics for the Memorial University of Newfoundland and Labrador School of Medicine, as well as the MUN Department of Philosophy. Chandra's presentations on political and ethical issues have received high acclaim across Canada, the United States, Europe, and Australia, and she has been widely published in both academic and popular media on subjects including bioethics, mental health ethics, feminist philosophy, and moral philosophy. A former feminist in residence for the St. John's Status of Women's Council, Chandra is also the founder and CEO of Adapt Mentorship, an organization based in St. John's that provides customized mentorship opportunities.
I'll call on Vivian Rambihar.
Vivian Rambihar graduated with an MD from McMaster University in 1975 in the early days of the new and innovative MD program, followed by internal medicine and cardiology training at Mac, and a 4-decade career as a cardiologist. He is an adjunct professor of medicine at the University of Toronto with continuing academic and community contributions. Vivian was among the first in Canada to identify ethnic and gender differences in health and founded Landmark Diversity in Health, as well as South Asian heart research, advocacy, and health promotion initiatives across Canada and globally. He is the first to apply chaos and complexity science to medicine and a pioneer and ardent advocate for complexity thinking for medicine, medical education, health, diversity, and even global crises like climate change, the pandemic, and planetary health. He is author of many books on this, including Tsunami, Chaos, and Global Health, subtitled Using Complexity Science to Rethink and Make a Better World, made available free online. A previous recipient of the McMaster Alumni Association's Community Impact Award, Vivian was named one of the 2012 top 25 immigrants in Canada, with many other honors including the Canadian Cardiovascular Society Segal Award for Health Promotion, Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce Humanitarian of the Year Award, Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, GoPO Indian Diaspora 25th Anniversary Jubilee Award, University of the West Indies Vice Chancellor's Award, and UC University of Toronto Alumni of Influence.
Mary Valentich.
Mary Valentich completed her social work degree at McMaster in 1963, then worked at Hamilton General Hospital. She received her MSW in 1965 and began working at the Lakeshore Psychiatric Hospital in Toronto, where she was the first social worker in a new adolescent unit based on behavioral modification. She later joined the faculty of St. Patrick's as an assistant professor and introduced feminist content into the curriculum. After working with her partner Jim Gripton to establish a groundbreaking course in human sexuality for social workers, she also initiated her own private practice, a rarity in that era. Mary then became a student again, earning a PhD from the University of Denver, after which she returned to St. Patrick's, where she helped found Ottawa's first rape crisis center. In 1976, Mary moved to the University of Calgary, where she would serve as assistant dean and acting dean of the MSW program, as well as an advisor to the president on women's issues. She has been professor emeritus since 1998. Mary helped found Calgary's first rape crisis sexual assault center, the Varsity After School program, and possibly the first Violence Awareness Week at a North American university. She was also a leader of the University of Calgary Stop Racism March 21st Committee, a founding member of the Calgary Climate Action Network, and a founder of Calgary Social Workers for Social Justice. A former chair for the Board of Accreditation for the Canadian Association of Schools of Social Work, as well as a member of the Board of Directors. Mary's honors include the Order of the University of Calgary, a Pioneer Award from the Alberta Society for the Promotion of Sexual Health, the Distinguished Service Award from the Canadian Sex Research Forum, the John Hutton Memorial Award for Social Action/Policy, and the highest honor for a Canadian social worker, the Glenn Drover Award for Outstanding Service.
I remember being at the Rathskeller and doing lots of sing-alongs. And the second one is I remember there's that gully where all the residences are. We used to take the trays from the cafeteria tray bog it. I don't know if they still do that, but those are two things that I remember.
I suspect it's mostly the socializing. I didn't play bridge. Buttery was known for that in my time. I didn't do that, but I would say those get-togethers that we had in and around the Buttery were very special. That was our place. I wasn't in residence. I did sometimes eat with the people from residence because of the late basketball or other practices. But I'd say those were fond memories that we had.
Marking 50 years since I started medical school at McMaster University, as an exciting journey into the unknown. In high school in Guyana, I happened to read about the new revolutionary medical school, McMaster. And I said, that's where I wanted to study medicine. I was lucky to get admission, and it turned out to be what I dreamed of and much more. It became the foundation and inspiration for a lifelong, exciting journey of exploration in medicine, science, society, and much more. This award recognizes that exploration and journey and inspires me to continue, making the challenges, countless hours, and sleepless nights in this journey worthwhile.
It's really, the best lesson is don't give up. Don't give up. Like, it just takes persistence, and you might be in front of a problem, or you might be in front of a situation that seems insurmountable, but don't give up, and don't stop dreaming. Because, you know, the one thing that I look back on, and it's still like these pinch me moments, is I remember sitting in, like, you know, these career sessions, and there'd be this, you know, person at the front of the room, and they're like living this like big career as an engineer, and they're doing this, you know, VP job or whatever, and watching them at the front of the room and thinking, wow, if one day that was me. That's me. So, you know, those two things, don't give up and keep dreaming.
Being flexible, I guess, is what, and taking advantage of opportunities. So I had the idea I didn't want to get involved in systems and computers, because I'd had a summer job like that. And my Don Woods, a professor of mine, said, listen, I hear you saying that, but, you know, think about remaining flexible into the future. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what the opportunities are. And I think that advice served me very well. I'd like to pass that on to younger students, is
to be very kind to yourself. So when I was choosing between supervisors, I really had a choice between a supervisor who I knew was a person who expressed themselves in a way that was highly critical, and a person who expressed themselves in a way that was very, very nurturing. And I had a difficult time choosing between those two people, because I knew that critical eye, that sort of demanding demeanor, was something that could have really benefited me in a number of ways. And there was a part of me that worried that by going in the more nurturing route, that maybe I was denying myself something. I wasn't going to achieve excellence in the same way. And so I ended up going with Elizabeth Gedge, who is an incredibly, incredibly nurturing presence throughout my journey. And I have to say that during your education, you get knocked back a lot. So you get, you know, rejection after rejection, whether it's conferences or publications. You're constantly hearing highly critical feedback. And so don't be afraid to allow yourself that nurturing space, whether it comes from you, whether it comes from others, whether you cultivate it in your community, you know, whether you provide that self-care time. Don't be afraid to nurture yourself and to be nurtured by others, because it is a challenging time, and it is a time where you are being rejected constantly. So you need a place where you're experiencing that acceptance.
That is amazing. You are all incredible, and that connectedness to all of us is absolutely amazing. At this time, I get to pass the torch to Kareem Alumni. He is your new president of the Alumni Association. He's going to have a few words for us.
All righty. All right, good evening. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Sorry. Are you working? Okay. Sorry, I'm a bit jet lagged. Came from a 20-hour flight, so I'm seeing doubles a bit. It feels overnight for me right now. It's a pleasure being with you guys this evening. I'm pleased to have been able to make the timing of this trip work, even if it feels like overnight for me, because it's 2 a.m. where I came from right now. I have to say it's like my biggest accomplishment was convincing my wife why I should leave her in a foreign country with 3 toddlers and be here with you guys. So, and she's the real hero out there. So I have to say, but it doesn't match all the accomplishments I've seen from the alumni today. So to me, that's what I can brag about. I used my negotiation skills from critical thinking back in the McMaster day. And please take a lot of photos to prove to her that I actually made it. She's like, are you really going to Canada for that? Yes, I am. So here I am. So my hearty congratulations to all of our honorees this evening. You're doing terrific things and serving as tremendous role models for McMaster students and alumni everywhere. We're all proud to share a place in the McMaster community with you. My congratulations and appreciations also go to the award committee members. Once again, you've done an outstanding job. Thanks also go to my predecessor and our MC this evening, Troy Hill. Always, he got my back. Another confession is I only told the organizers that I'm coming a week ago. That's how long the negotiation took with my wife. And I got the green light. I actually booked a ticket for my mother-in-law to spot me in Istanbul, so that was the loophole I found. So thanks, Troy, for holding the fort, and always fun listening to you and seeing you in person. We've been virtual friends for a few years, so I didn't even know, is he tall, is he short, like who is he? So before we get to the reason why a lot of you guys are here at dinner, we're gonna have closing remarks by Troy. And by the dinner, it's gonna be at the Student Center. So Troy with the closing remarks.
So in Ganigehage culture, it's traditionally to close with, I started with the Ahonagawe Dakwa, and we end with the Ahonagawe Dakwa. It's either a tradition because the Mohawks we like to have the last word, or it's our tradition. But the purpose of it is to bring all these minds that are wonderfully together right now, and to close and to open up everything that you've shared, and to close what you've shared. And to leave with a really good mind in thinking about all of the elements that I had started with, and I will take the responsibility of saying at the end. So bear with me, and then we will. And this is the 2-hour version I'm going to give right now. I wouldn't do that. Daetino wararo ne ongwe soha etono yudunge ne guani gora. Daetino wararo ne itini stoha johonjare. Wahyunta, Gahurinyo, Gandirio, Gahne, Gandirio, Johekwa, Joe Weraworia, Etono Dunge, ne, Guatnigora. The city what knew what Arone, Anjagene, Garakwa, Etono Dunge, ne, Guatnigora. Daitino Wadarone, Asantaneka, Garakwa, Etono Dunge, ne, Guatnigora. Daitino Wadarone, Yotisto Querinyo, Etono Duke, ne, Guatnigora. The city what knew what Arone, Scanadadio, Etono Dunge, ne, Guatnigora. Daitino Wadarone, Junkiadam, Etono Dunge. Ne ngwat nigora, the city what knew what Arone, Sangwai Disa, Etono Dunge, ne ngwat nigora. Let's eat. I will meet you over there and listen to your new Mohawk name that I gave you tonight.